It's a very fundamental questions to our existence. We all want to change, especially our behavior, so that our loved ones also concur with us, resonate with us. And we also expect our loved ones to change their behavior so that we love them even more. It's more conditional. Before we can understand this idea of behavior, I have to understand why do I behave in certain way? How did this conditioning of certain behavior happen? Can I break away from this behavior? We are studying all these things in a very limited way. For example, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, sex addiction, certain habits which have become ingrained, has become hardcore. As they say, the nerves are tightly innervated into our entire system. I would like to focus on this with one correlations that have been established. The way we develop our vrittis, meaning tendencies, tendency of the mind. This tendency of the mind creates activities we call pravrittis. And based on these activities, we develop our own prakriti, meaning our own nature. That becomes our hardcore genomic nature. And that determines our destiny, our future. We are the creator of our destiny by developing certain tendencies. Now the question arises, how do we end up creating these tendencies? It is the environment. Environment is not everything though, but it does contribute towards our conditioning. Take for example, you had love affair. You loved the other person so much. After some time, it so happens you meet that person after this heartbreak. How would you behave with the other person? Would you bring in that episode and start fighting? Or would you say, I'm sorry? There are two approaches. How would you regulate your mind at that time? Would you be nice or you will be, as they say, a jerk? At that moment, if your mind is volatile and not understanding things properly, then the whole episode will backfire. The reminder will backfire. Our memories play a very big role. Any activity will be stored in our mind. We call it cognitive memory. It remains there, existential memory. Further classification will be episodic memory, some episodes. And also, deep down, it will remain as an emotional memory. It is this emotional memory that creates our behavior pattern. How to remain protective against certain episodes. If you are bitten by a dog in your childhood, you will always remain away from, these lovely puppies. But to a person who has been bitten once by a dog will remain so far away. How to change this behavior? In heartfulness way of practice, especially when we do this evening cleaning, we make a will, we make a sankalp All the complexities and impurities that I have gathered during daytime leave my system. It has magical impact on our system. And once we do this for 10-15 minutes in the evening, once we reach back home, before mixing with our family members, with a new brain, new mindset. Generally, what happens is when we come home from work, we bring in a lot of emotional baggage with us, all kinds of emotional baggage. And before we mingle with family members, it will be nice if we can sit quietly in one corner of the house and do this cleaning at a deeper level in our system. Then you'll become so fresh and your mind will not have any baggage left from what you were exposed knowingly or unknowingly. Let me give you an example. If you go to a gym, you did your workout for 1 hour or half hour or 2 hours, you're sure going to sweat. Would you tell your beloved, come, my darling, let me hug you? The darling will say, please stay away from me for some time, go take a shower. Cleaning is required. This inner hygiene, when it is spoiled by our conscious as well as unconscious activities, our inner hygiene gets spoiled to a certain extent. We need to purify that, bring it to a certain level. That is one approach. Second approach is how to prevent anything from being conditioned into our system right from day one. You see, what we are doing as a cleaning is a post effect. You get dirty, you clean. Your shirt is dirty, you wash. There is another approach also that I don't allow my shirt, I don't allow my psyche, my emotional being to get soiled by the external. That means I have to immunize my mental activity, my emotions. How do I do that? That is through the meditation. You remain so balanced from inside that nothing shakes you. But to answer this question, how to bring about behavioral change, to bring about behavioral change, it's not so easy. But it becomes a child's play for a person who has a goal in mind. If you are God-oriented person, religious person, you have some level of leeway. Yes, I would like to realize the ultimate. Scientific mind will say, I would like to evolve my consciousness to a large extent possible. For a basketball player, they also a goal. I want to become an NBA player in the United States. You see. Here, you want to become a good cricket player. So, your behavioral changes will occur once you have established a goal in life. What do you want from this life? And accordingly, you can adjust your lifestyle to match the goal that you are aspiring to achieve. People who become alcoholic, drug addict, and they are so hardwired to certain habits, they are not flexible, that means. Flexibility is lost. Just as our brighter mind children, they have this beautiful exercise they teach us. Something that coordinates, it's all about coordination between right brain and left brain, which we somehow lose around the age of 15. Our creative activities, our creative abilities are lost or compromised because of the procreative hormones that are released in our system. Let me give an example again, demonstrate to you. Raise your two fingers like this. Try it. Please raise your hands and sit. Okay. Then raise these two fingers. On the other hand, switch them. Right? What does it mean? See, my right brain, whenever there is a brain stroke, if that clotting has occurred in my right brain, what happens? The organ on my left, limbs on my left will be suffering, will be paralyzed. Likewise, if there is a brain stroke in my left brain, the right part of the body will suffer. It will be paralyzed. Okay. Now, when I flip this and I keep on doing this, there is no coordination between right and left brain. These activities of this hand is regulated by the right brain. Activities of this hand is coordinated by the left brain. Now, when I'm switching this, there has to be a rapid coordination between the right and the left. This is lost. So, certain habits, though you want to change, but your hardcore brain will not let you change. It will require some interest, some joy in life. Okay, I want to change. There has to be some level of enthusiasm to change your pattern. Goal, and how do I fuel that aspiration to achieve that goal? If you are sad and say, oh, I'm going to drink and smoke. So some level of enthusiasm has to be there. Family members, instead of criticizing, give positive feedback. Yes, you can do it. You are brave, you are strong. So I think it takes so many people, friends, family members, to help us change certain habits. As far as the good habits are concerned, parents from the very early age has to sow those seeds of creating personalities in children, and that begins with the moment go, the moment of conception. But as the cells divides rapidly, turning into billions of cells, right from few cells in the beginning, they are constantly exposed. The way parents behave, the way their magnetic field changes, when they are angry, the arguments, they affect the inner structure. And if this inner structure, inner infrastructure is used to anger manifestation, it mutates accordingly. So science has a very big role to play, which are, for example, certain genomic changes it can never bring about, which are hardcore in our genetic structure. Epigenetic changes are possible. And that's what we are trying to do, bring about epigenetic changes and slowly helping genes to mutate. Suppose you are in a very bad neighborhood where you are always afraid to pass through certain streets. How would your sleeping pattern be in that neighborhood? Though you will be afraid, but you will slowly adjust. But then there will be a mutation happening in your brain cells to adapt to that external violent atmosphere. Per contra, when you're in such peaceful environment, you don't have to try much. Your neurocells will adapt accordingly. There is less effort. Less effort means lesser entropy. For anything to remain stable, you need energy input. For myself to have a stable behavior of a good human being, efforts are required. And why would I make efforts unless I'm interested in growth? So these are all connected goal or aspirations, lifestyle changes. But again, the fundamental question remains how to. And to me, only answer one comes is this cleaning that we adopt in heartfulness way, the evening cleaning that changes our behavior right from the grassroots, right from the subconscious level. I hope I have answered you. What it requires is a practice. Well, you ask yourself a question. Is this a spiritual quest, or are you looking for some success in the material world? Is it related to failures in the spiritual world, or is it related to failures in the material world? In your personal life or in your professional life? Then one can easily understand how to solve the problem. Destiny is one thing. Destiny is a very complex phenomenon. It is not just my wish, my goal, but there are other factors that determines if I can reach my destination or not. For example, Lord Jesus Christ. Did he choose to hang himself or get hanged? No, that was not his goal. People hanged him. Was it the aspiration of Lord Rama to go into forest? Was it written in his destiny that both husband and wife, Rama and Sita, suffer ad nauseum? No, because no less a person than a Saptarishi, Vasistha Muni, gave the benediction. And also before arranging such a marriage, he says this is the best couple, best zodiac. Yet they suffered like nobody else. The reason? Mother Kaikai, no less a person than a mother who became the cause of their miseries. So, any element can trigger the change in your aspired goals achievement. Was it a desire or the destiny of some millions of Jewish people to be killed mercilessly or smoked out by a single man called Hitler? Was it in their destiny? No. Destinies are changed, manipulated by many other human beings and circumstances and the environment. We have also some part to play in our destiny. If I don't study, then how can I become what I want to become? So it's very complex. We cannot say that my destiny is designed by God or my karmas. Of course, my karmas determines. Destiny, if you leave it to God and say, God will design my destiny, this is the cause of Hindus being so weak and important in this world. They leave everything to God. They don't do anything themselves. Ishwar karega, God will do it for me. This is a suicidal approach. If God was to do everything for you, then you can stay home and say to God, complete my thesis, complete my research work. No, we have to work towards it in a masterful way. At the same time, I have seen in many research institutions, educational institutions, politics creeps in, and that destroys creativity in most scientists. They get fed up. So I don't know what is the cause of failure, but you have to see what triggered this failure. And if it keeps repeating, it's best to change the research institute and go to somewhere else, if it is that. If it is family, you have to put up with it. But one divorce is not going to solve the problem. You'll marry another idiot. As long as two imperfect beings are together, there will be problems. And there are not even one single perfect human being. So problems have to be accepted at a family level. There is no magic wand to discipline. Otherwise, one Jesus would have been enough. No, one Messiah would have been enough. One Krishna would have been enough. Even during their lifetime, they could not change anyone. So the discipline that you talk of, it's an individual phenomena. The creativity in each one of us is unique, and we have the freedom to choose. Each individual has a freedom to choose their way of life. Often, our nature is to choose something very easy. Most people like to go down the hill. Very few would like to climb the Everest. It takes time to create some level of organization, some level of discipline. It requires efforts. Living any system, even in a room of your son or a daughter, see what happens over 1 year. If you don't do anything in that room, so many birthday toys comes, other gifts come. If you don't put extra efforts in arranging the books and the toys and the clothes, what happens to that room? It will start stinking. Child will not feel like entering that room. Someone has to put in efforts to organize that room, keep it tidy and clean. Same thing. It is like entropy. One fundamental question is the discipline in the cosmos. They don't deviate from their orbits. This master plan like that. Who is providing this energy input to keep them organized? We see it's just happening because of gravitation. But then fundamental question would be, who is creating this gravitation? So this leads to a deeper and deeper question. Individual discipline requires energy input. Energy input means your will. Will doesn't mean that I must do this. No, your heart must cry out with joy, some desperation that I want to achieve it no matter what. Then energy input can happen. But people often becoming sad and because of so many things that happens in life. Our lives are governed by so many people, not just yourself alone that I can govern my life. No. If your child curses you, I have seen some parents being beaten up by their children. Imagine what goes to their father or mother or grandparents. What will happen to their disciplined way of life? So I think there are many factors, but what is in our control is only this. I can discipline myself, have a goal, and try to achieve that. Have enthusiasm because God doesn't descend into the hearts which are sad. God only descends into the heart who are welcoming, who are joyful. He doesn't like to be burnt alive in the heart which are fuming with anger.